Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Look, I am coming through with the live streams, but I saw something and it's late at night, but I'm gonna do this video for y'all. I saw something online that's going viral right now. The Shade Room posted it, it's going viral on TikTok. It is basically a woman feeling entitled to one of her baby father's money. And we're gonna go ahead and get straight into the video. But first, give this video a thumbs up because your girl is trying to push through content for you guys. And I want you, after watching this video, to comment below and what you think about this crazy video we're about to watch. All right, guys, hold on. Let me share my screen with you guys. Let's see. How do you share? There we go. Share screen. All right, let's get into it. I want to share. Let's watch part one.
And daddy, my baby daddy, come here with one meal for my child. But I have 3 other kids. We have 1 kid together, but he only want to come and bring one thing to McDonald's. But what about my other kids? How come you can't feed my other kids McDonald's though? Like that's bogus as hell. Like you're not gonna sit here and make my other kids feel left out, and you're only bringing one child something to eat. Look, there you go. And I bet you he only got one thing in there. I bet you he don't even. I'm finna expose him so people can see how he really is. It ain't more than enough food in that bag for everybody. What's up? Because I'm finna expose you. What? Because that don't look enough for all my kids. That don't look enough for all my kids. What is that? That's just one burger? One burger, one fry? What do you mean? Okay, what about my other kid? And daddy, my baby daddy, come here.
That's part one. Now we're gonna watch part two.
You know I can get my food stamps to the 7. But if you're trying to help out though, you're not helping out. I'm trying to help my son. But how are you helping your son when you're only getting care for food for just helping out the other kids, his siblings? Them are his siblings though. He's not gonna eat it from all his other siblings and they're not eating on McDonald's. No, why do I gotta put? No. He's not gonna eat that at all if you can't bring it up for everybody. So you telling me that I gotta bring my son food? I gotta bring your kids food too now? Yes. You sound dumb. How is that dumb? You sound dumb. You sound dumb. Where are their daddies at? Nobody told you to talk to mother. You got the mother kids. They're your responsibility. They're not my responsibility. Okay, but if you're gonna bring one, you need to bring it for all. How do that shit look that I'm letting one child eat McDonald's and all the rest of the kids can't eat no fucking McDonald's? You know I get food stamps on the 11th. 3 kids that ain't mine. 3 kids that ain't mine. Yeah, you know I can get my food stamps to the 7th.
Okay.
Bitch.
That's part two. Let's go on to part 3.
McDonald's. You know I get food stamps on the 11th. 3 kids that ain't mine. 3 kids that ain't mine. Yeah, they're his siblings. You knew what you was getting into when you had a baby with me. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. You expect me to take care of these are not my kids. Okay, but you still had a baby with me who have kids with other people. I still have other kids. Because I'm exposing everybody think you such a motherfucking good daddy. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're foolish in this bullshit. You only come here with one piece of food for one child. The child that's mine, silly. No, that's dumb that you can't feed the other kids. Don't feed nobody at all. Then he can't take that. He can't eat it. Maybe if you had 1 or 2, I could maybe. You got it's 3 extra kids.
4 of them.
I'm like going to my mother account, spend money on all those kids. Them not my kids. Them are your kids' siblings, though. So that's what you gonna go with. That's the one you gonna. Those are your fucking kids' siblings. They McDonald's. You know I get food stamps on the 11th. 3 kids that ain't mine. 3 kids that ain't mine. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if I can kind of blow this up. I'm just gonna, y'all. I'm gonna put that on pause for a second. Because I really want to digest this video in its whole form. It's a lot to take in. But first thing off that I thought about was she's not entitled to his money when it comes to her other children that are by different men. Like, ma'am, I am all for women. I'm all for standing up for mothers. But this is when I say accountability needs to happen. This is like accountability knocking on her door. Ma'am, what? Are you serious? I don't know if women like this exist. I'm so mind blown by the thought of this video. I don't even think it's real. Cuz people do things for clout on the internet, but if this is real, let me give a breakdown on this. Well, for one, he's coming to bring his child something to eat because his child is hungry. So, ma'am, you chose all those other men for those men. Where are the other kids at? Where are the other kids' fathers? And if they're not in their life, don't get mad because you chose one of the children's father decided to step up, and now you want, since he's the only one that stepped up, you want him to step up for all your kids. It's like one band, one song. Like, ma'am, you're not entitled to his son's father. You guys are not together. Like, if they were together, that's one thing. If they were together or married, that's one thing. But she has 4 children by probably, I don't know, maybe 4 different men. I don't know, maybe 3 different men, maybe 2 different. I don't know. But obviously, the other children's fathers are not around. And me personally, if that was me in that situation, what she could have done, first of all, her anger is misplaced. She should be mad at the other kid's father for not stepping up. And then she also need to take accountability that she needs to step up because she did choose men who don't take care of their kids. Therefore, she's going to have to step up for her kids. And she's relying on her food stamps to feed her children. And she has 4 children. I understand that's hard, but you can't be salty and mad. And then you put this man on the internet, you put his face on the internet, trying to embarrass him. And you just only embarrassed yourself. Like, women, this is when I, as a woman, will hold you accountable. That's ridiculous. That is unacceptable behavior. And I'm actually gonna break down this video one by one because there's just so much to digest. So I'll just go with the first part.
And daddy, my baby daddy, come here with one meal for my child. But I have 3 other kids.
You have 3 other kids by different men. Why do you expect for him to not bring his son something, but you want him to spend? Maybe he didn't even have the money for all of them, for one. And number 2, he doesn't have to do that. That's not his child. What you could have done was, oh, you're coming to bring him McDonald's? Hey, can I send you money to get the other 3 something to eat off the dollar menu? And so he could, and something up the dollar menu, okay? She could have easily worked that out. She could have asked him, hey, can I send you money? Can I Zelle you, Cash App you, Venmo? Can I Venmo you some money or pay you back when you get here? Because I see that you're bringing him some money, but I have the other 3. At least he's saving you money for one because he's stepping up to the plate. Where are the other kids' dads? That's the question. Because if they're not around, don't get mad at him for being around and being a responsible parent to his child. He's not obligated to take care of your other children, especially because you guys are not together. So let's continue watching.
We are 1 kid together, but he only want to come and bring one thing to McDonald's. But
that doesn't make any sense. You have 1 kid together, but he only wants to bring one thing. Y'all have 1 kid together and he's bringing one thing for that child that you guys created together. I don't understand what's the concept here, what she was trying to prove.
But what about my other kids?
What about your other kids? That's for you to figure out because you decided to have 3 other children. So therefore, that's for you to figure out. That's for you. That's accountability. Like, ladies, comment below how you feel about this because this is mind-blowing to me personally, and I just need some thoughts below.
How come you can't see my other kids McDonald's though? Like that.
I mean, he could have, but he's not entitled. You're not entitled to it, and he's not obligated. I mean, it would be nice. Like, I remember when I was younger, my grandfather would come to school and he knew that I had a best friend, and he would bring me and my best friend's food, or he would bring me and he would bring enough food for me and my friends to sit and we can all sit and eat together. Like, when it was my birthday, they bought pizza, and when it's my son's birthday, like, but if you don't have it, if he probably doesn't have it. And also, with that attitude, you don't deserve him buying anything for your children because you sound ungrateful. For one, you sound ungrateful. At least he's coming through, because we're the other children's father. This is that like entitled behavior that cannot be acceptable. This is just not acceptable. And I don't know anybody who's agreeing to her.
Bogus as hell. Like, you're not gonna sit here and make my other kids feel left out.
Now, make her other kids feel left out. Like, I think this is the concept of like a man buying his son or child or daughter school clothes, and the other ones don't have school clothes. This is also on men, and I'll get into that as well, because why are you having a child by a woman who can't even take care of her other kids? Then now your child's going to have to grow up seeing his siblings that he loved suffering and not getting things, and you are. That's going to cause confrontation and a riffle between the children. And as a parent, the father's probably not looking at it like, I don't care about those kids, but it causes like emotional damage for that child to watch his other siblings and them not liking him because he thinks he's better, or they think he's better than the rest of them. But that's not on him. That's on the mom to make sure that she's in a space and she works hard enough to get her children out of that type of situation where you're not waiting on food stamps to feed your kids. This is why I feel like this is fake. Because it just sounds too, I don't know. It sounds fake.
You're only bringing one child something to eat. Look, there you go. And I bet you he only got one thing in there. I bet you he only
tried to embarrass him and embarrassed herself.
I'm finna expose him. So people can see how he really is. It ain't more than enough food in that bag for everybody. What's up? Because I'm finna expose you. Yeah, because that don't look enough for all my kids.
That don't look enough for all my kids. Girl, what? Oh my God. I'm really just disappointed.
That don't look enough for all my kids. What is that? That's just one burger? One burger, one fry? What do you mean? Okay, what about my other kids?
What about my other kids? What about them?
I don't get my food stamps to the Senate.
First of all, she don't get her food stamps. First of all, if you're on food stamps, there's a thing called management that you know how to manage and budget. And ma'am, it sounds like you don't know how to budget your income. And if you are struggling, demand the other fathers to step up. This is why I just don't disagree with child support, because if she had the other men on child support, maybe she can have some source of income coming in to help her children so her children won't suffer, because obviously it's hard for her to take care of all 4 of these kids by herself. And one of the fathers are stepping up and she's giving him a hard time. Maybe if you were like a little nicer, I don't know, he could probably be nice enough to include your other kids, but with your attitude, nobody wants to do anything for somebody like that. I'm sorry.
What's my problem? But if you're trying to help out though, you're not helping out.
He's trying to help out, and he's trying to help out his child. You guys are not together. Therefore, you're not entitled for him to help all of you guys out.
I'm trying to help my son. But how are you helping your son when you're only getting care for food for just counting out the other kids? His siblings. Them are his siblings though. He's not gonna eat it from all his other siblings and they're not eating on McDonald's. No. Why do I gotta bring him to the car? No.
Okay, so he tried to say bring him to the car so he can come down and eat. I think as a mother, she's just trying to say that one is not better than the other. But in reality, it's not that one is better than the other. One has an active father and the others don't. So therefore, his life is going to be a little different, a big difference between his siblings. Where are the other? I just don't understand where the other father's at. That's what your anger should be going towards.
Oh, he's
All
not
the fathers should be lining up, pulling up with food for their kids. Period.
gonna eat that at all if you can't bring enough for everybody.
So you telling me that I gotta bring? So when I bring my son food, I gotta bring your kids food too now?
Yes.
You sound dumb.
How is that dumb? You sound dumb.
You sound dumb. That's how you know she don't know what she's talking about. She's just trying to rebuttal back against him. You sound dumb. No, you sound dumb. Don't even know why he's called. She doesn't even understand the concept that he's like, how are you going to tell me not to bring something for my son if I can't buy it for all your kids? Those are not my kids. Like he's not, and you're not entitled to his money. His money is entitled. You're entitled to his money when it comes down to his son, as in if you put him on child support or if you have an arrangement with him, then you're entitled to, well, your son is entitled to that. You're not entitled to that. Your son is entitled to that. Let me correct that. So what are you talking about?
I'm dumb.
Where are they daddies at?
Where are they?
Nobody told you to talk to them other. You had them other kids. They're your responsibility. They're not my responsibility.
Okay, but if you're gonna bring one,
He said a word. He said, those are your kids. Nobody told you to go talk to those dudes, those other dudes. You chose to go talk to them and have their children. And I can say that if you go and mess with men that are in the streets, their life is not reflecting them to be a good father, they're not consistent with you, I can say, please, 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 please do not open your womb up to these men, because they're not going to be, your children are going to be looking at you like, mommy, mommy, where is daddy? Now I understand this is just a very slippery slope, because people do get in relationships with people and they don't see the red flags, because, they have red flags, and then they're toxic and this other person is toxic. So you're both toxic and you can't see the toxic of that relationship. But when you're straight up messing with a dude that's like in the streets and not consistent in his life, not doing anything with his life, don't show skills of leadership and responsibility and accountability, you have no business having a child with that person, because they're not going to be a good dad.
you need to bring it for all. How do that shit look that I'm letting one child eat McDonald's and all the rest of the kids can't eat no fucking McDonald's? You know I get food stamps on the 11th.
Three kids that ain't mine.
Yeah, you know I don't get my food stamps.
Those are 3 kids that are not mine.
McDonald's. You know I get food stamps on the 11th.
Three kids that ain't mine.
Yeah, they had siblings. You knew what you was getting into when you had a baby with me. Yes, you.
Wait, hold on. Now she said something that I'm gonna, just like men say to women, you should never slept with Pookie and Ray Ray. Well, you should never slept with Keisha, or whatever we want to call that equivalent to a Pookie and Ray Ray. You should never sleep with a woman like that. She just said, you knew I had all these kids, and he still laid down with her. And this has nothing to do with baby mamas. This obviously is a type of woman. Because just like there's decent single fathers, there's decent single mothers. You can't group all single mothers together and say, this is why I don't date single mothers. If you don't want to date single mothers, that's fine. Nobody's forcing you. Nobody has anything to your head telling you to do it. But the thing is, if you can't group all of them. This is a certain type of woman, just like there are certain type of men that you like to call Pookie and Ray Ray. This is a certain type of woman you cannot group all single mothers together with, because this is just not the everyday case and scenario of what single mothers look like. Now, this is a woman who had multiple kids, and he knew her situation. He knew her financial situation. He knew that she was struggling, but he still decided to lay down with her and create a baby with her. So there is accountability on his part too, because obviously she had 3 kids before him, and he saw how that looked, and he saw her struggling, and he still decided to not protect his seed. And now he has a child with a woman who has now 4 kids and struggling. And now he's trying to step up and be a dad, and she won't let him because she feels entitled to him taking care of her other kids.
You did?
You expect me to take care of kids? They're not my kids.
Okay, but you still had a baby with me who have kids with other people. I still have other kids.
She's recording
because I'm exposing. Everybody think you such a motherfucking good daddy. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're foolish in this bullshit. You only come here with one piece of.
So he's not a good dad because he bought his kid food when his kid was hungry because you can't take care of your kids.
Food for one child.
This is where I say I think that especially a little boy should live with his father if a mother is in a situation where she just can't take care of her kids, because this is ridiculous. Like, I'm thinking about the kids. I don't care less about the adults involved. I'm thinking about the children involved.
Oh, that's mine, silly.
No, that's dumb that you can't feed the other kids. Don't feed nobody at all. Then he can't take that. He can't eat it.
Maybe if you had 1 or 2, I could maybe.
Okay, so obviously he's like, well, maybe if you had 1 or 2, maybe. Like, maybe I would have enough money to get them, but 4 kids, that especially 3 that's not mine, you expect me to take it? Like, think about it. If he does this one time, she's gonna, maybe he has done this before, so that maybe that's why she feels so entitled to his money, where she's like, no, you need to take care of all of them, you need to buy them all something. And maybe he don't have the money, but he have enough money for his kid, and that's okay. And he could have said that, I don't have enough money for your kids, and I'm not entitled to give them any money. Go call the men that you're actually really mad at, which is their dads. He could have just simply said that.
It's 3 extra kids. What the? All like go to my account, spend money on all those kids. They're not my kids.
Them are your kids' siblings, though.
So that's what you gonna go with. That's the one you gonna.
Those are your fucking kids' siblings.
The way she's talking, y'all, how she's talking, it just sounds like it's fake, and it sounds like it's something to get people riled up and talk about, just like I'm talking about right now. That if this was real, then you know what, men, you need to protect your seeds. And I just don't like that people, I know the red pill manosphere community are going to use this video and they're going to be like, that's why I don't date single moms. That's why I don't date single moms. Like, before I started dating, like I've taken care of my kid by myself, and his father is active. Me and his father just did not work out, and that relationship was turmoil, but he stepped up to the plate and he's a great dad. Like, my kid is with his dad now, and so this is not to group all single mothers together, because they're just good women that find themselves in bad situations. And, long as we hold ourselves accountable, and take care of our kids that we decided to have. I think when you become a mother and you get pregnant or you lay down with somebody, you have to think about your financial situation and say, am I ready for this? And make the certain decisions that you need to make to, protect yourself, especially now since this Roe and Wade situation was overturned. I feel like women, we really need to protect our womb more than ever, because some states you're not going to have that option to, have a different option for yourself. So if you find yourself with a guy who's inconsistent, he, hasn't even committed to you, or you don't really know him, you only met him for a couple of weeks, I just don't advise you to sleep with him unprotected. I know a lot of men, you get caught up in the moment. You get all lovey-dovey and you feel like you can trust that person. And I think we don't talk enough about that, like getting caught up in the moment to feel closer with that person. But I feel like we should have some sort of, and speaking from my experience, I don't want you guys to make the same mistake that I've made in the past. And I can say that I wish I would have done things differently, but I didn't. And here I am, and I'm dealing with that, and I take accountability for it, and my kids are good. And me and, I co-parent very well with one of my children's father, and I'm with one of my children's father. Like, we're together and we're working towards marriage, and I'm working on myself. But in the meantime, even if that doesn't happen for me, I'm still going to take responsibility for myself that I have two kids. And as someone who do have two kids out of wedlock, I can say, like, if you are not in that situation, please protect yourself, because it's very serious, and it's children involved, and it's really, really hard. People don't really tell you how expensive children are. I mean, kids don't mean much, but when you're a working mom and you have dreams and aspirations, sometimes those things get put on hold because you have to be there for your kids. And you can't go out all the time. You can't, especially if you're like doing it by yourself, so like that's not involved. You got to think about the child's mental health. You got to think about, are you able to call off of work and go see that child when they're sick, when they're misbehaving and they need to be picked up? Can you afford daycare by yourself? Because one thing you don't want to do is just keep depending on the government. You don't want to keep I never had that mindset that I wanted to be on food stamps and be taken care of and have uh what is that, housing or something like that. Like that, I don't want to live in poverty, and I don't want to have a poverty mindset, and I don't want to teach that to my children. Now sometimes, you may need the help to get on your feet. Like some people may need to be on food stamps and housing to give them a step ahead. But long as you have a plan, it's our responsibility to take care of our kids, especially if the fathers are not stepping up. It is our responsibility because we brought these children into the world to take care of them. So therefore, it's our responsibility to take care of our children and find a way out. You can't complain to a man who's not obligated to take care of your other kids, and you guys are not married. Like I can see if this was like your husband and he literally was playing, he lives in the home, your husband and wife, he stepped out to your kids and he is like, F them kids, I don't care, I'll take care of my kid. Then that's not leading an example, because if he decided to step in that role as stepfather, then he is taking on everything that comes with you. And a lot of men don't want to do that, especially if you're a woman that's not trying to get her life together and make sure her kids are taken care of. How is he going to step in? He gotta, like, that's a big, like, men want to step in and be providers. And if a man is stepping in a situation where he has to provide not only for his kid or the thought of having a kid with you, along with like three or four other children, he's going to be a little hesitant to be, well, he's going to be a lot of hesitant. He's going to be like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to, that's a lot of financial responsibility that I feel like my money doesn't have to go towards all those children, when I can probably get a woman who has no children or less children than you or whatever. Like, you really have to be a bomb woman. And I feel like that's where we have to take accountability and making sure we take care of our kids and find a way to make it happen. If your job's not paying you, go find a new one. Go get a job and pray about it and manifest it and create side hustles. Like, you got to be a working mom. And that's the life that, you chose. Like, and I chose my kids, and I know that if me and Brandon were to split up, like, hey, I can provide for my two children. I'm gonna figure it out. But I'm not gonna try to put myself in a situation where I'm depending on one of the men to take care of both of my children. But I know for a fact that both of my sons' fathers, they wouldn't do that. They because that's the type of men that I chose. So I know that my first son's father, if he came here, he wouldn't. If my when my youngest is old enough and his dad just, that's not the case because his dad's here. But I'm just saying, like, he would, include him. He would include him. He wouldn't just, he would say, hey, I'm going here. Did so and so need something? Or, and I would send him money for it. Like, he's not obligated to do that. If he does do it, it's nice, but he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to, because that's the type of men that I chose. Like, that men that like actually respect me and wants really, 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 really care for me. And they would never want to see me fall. So you do have to be careful who you sleep with, because if you're being with a man who just don't care about you, don't care for you like that, then it's going to be really hard on you and your children. And you're going to find yourself in situations like these. And this just makes single mothers look bad, because these manosphere channels are going to group all of us together and be like, this is why I don't cheat. This is going to give them another reason, but who cares? Like, you know what? Just take accountability, take responsibility, and provide for your kids. If their fathers are not stepping up, then you provide for your kids, and just know that that's the life that you chose, and that's a sacrifice that you have to make for your children. So go ahead and let me know your thoughts below on this video. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it as well. And just, I really want to know your thoughts below. I know the chat is going, but I want you to also comment after the chat, because YouTube be playing your girl and don't be pushing me into the algorithm anymore. So yeah, I want to just read your comments below, and I will join the chat once it is over. I'll reply to some of you guys' comments. Okay, and thank you guys for watching my video, and for next time, bye.